Hi, Nancy Burt-Preece, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I wanted to share with you a fun technique I saw with Jackie Bolhuis, which is Klompen Stampers. So, I forget what she called it. Strip, cut, and flip technique, maybe. I started with Delicate Dreams, and I didn't finish this. It's very pretty, but it doesn't have enough definition to show, where I think this one really does. So I'm creating a card for a stamping event that I'm going to be going to this weekend. So I wanted to make sure it was, high quality, and it was something that people would enjoy doing. So let me show you. I just put some strip on the inside, nothing too exciting. People can stamp their own sentiment. This is using the Sunset Coast stamp set and dies. It is using the Scenic Coast DSP, which I absolutely love. I am also using the Stylish Shapes dies. The only ink pad I'm using is Azure Afternoon, which I think is kind of cool. So let me show you. If you have a one of these sheets, that's really helpful because nothing sticks to it. And I always forget what that's called. I don't know why. Silicone craft sheet. I always have to look it up. Don't ask me. I don't get it. And I have, I just cut the 6 inches, so you are going to have some extras. And these are anywhere from 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. You get to decide what you want to do with them, and I'll show you in a minute how we're going to do it. I have a 1 by 3 3/4 for the outside, a purple, which is Gorgeous Grape, 4 by 5 1/4, and a Daffodil Delight. I also have I'm not going to do that on camera, but I'll also have a inside white 4 by 5 1/4 and a 3/4 piece to go on the inside. And this is my Stylish Shapes. I also used the, what's it called? Pearlized specialty paper to make these. These are just in Secret C. So let me show you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to start out with my 3 3/4 by 5 piece, and I'm going to start layering it. And I tend to not go in any rhyme or reason. That's me. Could you lay it out? Yes. So I'm going to start, let me see. I might start with one of these. So I'm going to kind of go, remember it's double-sided. The first thing is you got to make sure that that's even. And that is definitely not even. That's why I recommend using liquid glue for this technique. Making sure I don't see any white. Move it up just a little bit. It's the hardest thing doing the camera thing here. Oh, I'm picking it right up. Try her again. Get some of that white ripped off. I'm going to try to get right up to the top. Like I say, that's the hardest part. Once you get that, it's good. Okay. And if I need to trim on the other side, but I think I did pretty good that time. Okay, so then you just go through and you do whatever you choose. There is no wrong or right to this technique. Every time, the thing I'm kind of fun taking it to a demonstrator event is that every time somebody makes one of these cards, it's going to look different because people will put the strips on in different ways, which makes it fun. You could use any paper pack you wanted because remember, they all coordinate. Stampin' Up! Makes sure that it all coordinates. So when you're doing it, it goes pretty quickly. And I'm just, I don't know. Let me see. What do I want? I might like one of these lighter ones. That's a purple, but it's, oh no, I don't want to do a tiny one next to a tiny one. Let's see. Ooh, maybe I'll do a dark. I like using the silicone mat just in case something gets off the edge, and that way it won't stick. Now I'm going to use the other side, and I'm going to use one of these like strawberry slush. And remember, I always look at what colors are in the DSP, and that's how I know what I want to use. I mean, this paper, some of it has just this shimmer on it. It is so pretty. I just really like certain paper packs just call to me, and so I'm like, okay, I got to do that one. Sometimes they don't, and that's okay too. But it's fun to try different things with the designer series paper, because I do have to say Stampin' Up! Comes with some gorgeous designs, and I always enjoy them. So I have to decide, do I want a yellow in there? I don't think I do on this one. I think I'm going to stick with like this, which is a little bit of a yellow in there. Because every time I do it a little bit different, which is the fun part. I don't put the same strips. I don't think it ahead. You should. If you really, really like it a certain way, you should think it ahead. But if you don't care, I have a lot of yellow left out, I see. If you don't care, then you can just go any which way. When I do it at my demonstrator event, I'm going to have a lot of papers kind of already cut, so people can just pick and go. And then the last one, I'm going to end and start the same. You don't have to. I do it sometimes to help me know what the top and the bottom are. So I'm going to put that on there, make sure that's right up against there, and let that set. And I've got some extra for my next card. I'm going to let it sit for a minute, and I'm going to come back through, and I'm going to stamp You Brighten My Day, because this is surely a bright and sunny set of paper. And I'm using one ink pad, which is Azure Afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and get this. Now, people ask me when I try to always score it, but then I fold it carefully to make sure it really does match. I do that every single time I fold. That's just me. That's a Nancy thing. You do not have to do that. But that's just my own part. And I made a boo-boo. Have you ever done that? I bet you have. So I'm going to come back, and I did not cut that the correct amount. Could I have used it? Probably. But it works better. I'm off camera here a little bit. If I cut it at 4 and 5 1/4. Don't ask me what I cut that one in. I think it was, I don't know what I did with that, but it wasn't right. So let's try this again. And okay. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to come back to this, and I'm going to go on the back side and cut. Could you keep those scraps for a different technique? You sure could. And that'll be a personal preference, whether you want to do that or not. Could you use a paper trimmer to trim it? You could. I find that scissors are just as easy. Okay, so now I'm going to just brush all of that off. And I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer. So the first thing, I can move that to the side. If any glue does get on here, let it dry and you just pick it off. I love those silicone sheets. They're amazing. So you can decide which you want as the top or the bottom. Well, I think I kind of like this. And I'm going to go over and cut at 3/4 with the black blade. And I'm going to set that to the side. I'm going to flip it and go over on the 1/2 inch. Actually, you don't need to flip it when you're actually doing it. You need to flip it when you put it on there. And then I got to make sure this is the same way as the other one. Yes, okay. So I'm going to come back with this. When I adhere this, I'm going to adhere this really close to the edge. Like I'm leaving very, very little. If you know me, I always say, come over and do the opposite side. Now I'm going to make sure. Let's look. Does this measure up? Yeah, that's the way it was, because that was a dark part that came over there. So it really does go that way, which gets us all confused, but that is correct. And I'm going to do the outside first, and I'll tell you why, because then if you make boo-boos, you can go ahead. Wait, I'm not lining this one. I'm lining this one. That is correct. If you make boo-boos, then you just fill in the other piece, whatever is left. Okay, and I will clean that up with my, because this is my glass mat, I can get junk all over. Now, if I was going to do this again, I might not put the same on the top and the bottom, because maybe it would make more of a contrast. I'm just not sure. And like I say, every time I do it, it looks a little different. And I'm going to fill that in there. Okay, I will, for now, I'm just getting a wipe to clean my surface. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I already pre-cut some of our pieces here. So I'm going to pop up our Stylish Shapes die. Put like 3 on there, make sure it holds. I'm using our Stampin' Dimensionals. I have used Dimensionals from other companies, and I know I sound goofy, but I'm serious. Stampin' Up! Is really, truly the best. Now, I will probably, for my demonstrator friends, have, oops, you don't need the die. I will probably have these all die cut for them and maybe make them stickers. I did not make them a sticker for today. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue on there. Just a tiny dot. And this is that pearlized, barely blush paper. I always ask my husband, what do you think about this? He had all sorts of ideas, but we ended up that we liked the pearlized paper for the shells. So that kind of went the best, we thought. And then I'm going to take this one and go ahead and put a little adhesive there. Oops, there we go, stuck to my finger. And I will definitely have these as stickers because they're kind of hard to do. But I will show you how this works. I put a little bit of glue on there. Like I say, I probably will have stickers for this weekend. And I am putting just a little bit of adhesive, just a tiny bit, on these birds. Oops. And a teeny tiny on this one. Can the birds fly the other way? Absolutely. Of course, if I make a sticker, they'll have to fly one way. We never know. And I'm going to just go down in here. And that one is sticking to my finger. Okay. So a fun technique to use with strips of designer series paper. And every time you do it, it'll look different. But I just think it's bright and fun and sunshiny. And we need that this time of year, don't we? Remember, you can do it with any pattern paper. And I probably will finish this card. It just wasn't as bright as I wanted it to be. But you can use any pattern paper and have a ton of fun with this technique. So I hope you have a great day. And I look forward to next week when I see you on Monday next week or Tuesday. I got to check my schedule. Summer is kind of crazy, but hope you're having a great day. Take care.